Okay, so moving on.
Okay, moving on.
Uh, Alec, would you like to give viewers 60 seconds information about your age and your current uh, school work situation?
Oh, sure. I was actually talking to Norman about that before we started recording. Or maybe we were recording, but I doubt it's in the video. So, currently, I am in the last month of my senior year of high school. I attend classical high school, school in Providence. What I'm planning to do before that ends is finish the first draft, at least, of a book which I don't believe has an official release title yet, but we've been calling it Vera, and you've probably heard that here and there in our videos. Aside from that, in school, to people who are in or have been in public school, you'll know at the end of the school year, there are typically a few weeks or days at least where students are required to do very minimal work, and really can get away when they're physically in school with a lot of stuff that wouldn't be acceptable otherwise. We're basically at that point now, so I've been having video calls for my classes, which a few classes have already just said, like, this is the last one we had just today. As for the friends that I made throughout the years, we can't meet in quite the way we wish. Where we've been talking about ways like maybe we can meet at a park and I'll stay 6 feet away, or it's okay for like this many people to be in a crowded group, so maybe we can like split off into two groups that stay like the required distance apart from each other. I'd say that's about it. That was pretty scattered, but I think you have an idea of where I'm at now.
You didn't mention your age.
Oh, yeah. I'm 17.
Your turn, please, to viewers. Your current situation and your age.
What's up, viewers? My name is Norman D. Baker. I'm 26 years old. I live in Providence, Rhode Island. I live by Fox Point. Pretty jazzy joint that I live with my roommate, Garrison Asensao, and Shara Bedford. Two pretty cool cats that I met maybe a half year back. No, almost a year back now. And more of my current situation revolves around working at Lowe's as an inside seasonal department employee. I'm a BMX rider at heart. I love pedal to the metal, going fast. I'm meeting lots of people, trying to connect, trying to see how we can grow together. Trying to make something new happen in my life and in everybody's lives. And I'm aiming to improve the world with a language, a book, art. So at the moment, the more people I talk to, the more I figure out how to shape myself. The more that Alec and I speak to each other using Thuma slang, the closer that I get to developing my ideal self. So at the moment, I am in the midst of truly creating who I want to become.
Thank you, Norman. Thank you, Alex. So what's the difference between the two of you in terms of age, Alec?
9 years.
Okay. So Norman, if you went back to your youth 9 years back, how do you think this Thuma slang knowledge that you now have should do something about your last 9 years? If you went back in time and you brought this knowledge, only the Thuma slang knowledge back with you 9 years ago, what would have happened in 2 minutes or less?
2 minutes or less?
Before you answer that,
top of my head.
before you answer the question,
Yeah, Nick.
because this is for you, Alec.
I'm listening. I put that together.
Very good.
Deliberate my future. If I was 9 years younger with this knowledge, I would tell myself to pick something and work towards it instead of trying to work towards everything in my life. Such as be the BMX pro, change the world, travel, and like all these other things. And I feel like growing up, I was always putting my feelers out for something instead of picking one thing and coordinating towards it. Having conversations towards that one thing. Meeting people that would help me get towards that one subject. Starting projects that would put me on a path towards becoming who I wanted to become. And I never had conversations with my guidance counselors or with psychiatrists or with my parents or educators in college that got me to figure that out. They simply said, this is your world. You can do anything in the world. And I never was able to create a plan off of just having all the possibility, because there was nobody to ever question me. There was only people saying, this is what's available. And no one ever asked, Norman, who are you? I got a lot of, Norman, this is what you can be, and this is how you get there. So
This is important for the project Vera. What I'm about to say, based on Norman's answer to my question. What's missing from the advice that older people telling younger people is that if you want to do big things, many small things that you produce have to work together and add up to that one big thing.
And to give an example of what Nick's saying, I've had many jobs, such as spending time with Clean Water Action as a nonprofit group to make a better world by creating conscious, people that are conscious about recycling and in awareness. Other projects such as working in careers that just made money, such as moving or driving trucks or working for UPS, but none of those things were on the same path. They were all just different paths. So if I were to coordinate what kind of jobs I would do 9 years ago, I would have picked jobs like life coaching skills and start figuring out how to write about what it means to be a mentor for somebody, and maybe work under a mentor and work in a field where I could learn to be a better writer. But I didn't do that for sure. I simply learned how to write on my own, and that kept me stagnant instead of working with somebody who could teach me something or make me question how I do things.
Would you like to convert what you said and what I said into a formal package of your advice to someone who is actually 9 years younger than you are in front of you in less than 2 minutes?
I can try. It's pretty tough. What would I tell somebody 9 years younger?
Meaning, Alec, what would you tell him right now so that he's now 9 years, he's now in your youth, and he would like to learn from your 9 years? What would be the 2 minutes advice that you can give him?
Alec, figure out the field you want to work in, and then start talking to people in that field and research everything that you can. Figure out what skills you lack and start reaching out towards individuals or books or videos that would put you in understanding your field more. That way you understand your field's nomenclature better, and you can become an expert in what you say you would like to become, which is a writer. You should start talking to people who are also writers instead of who are aspiring to be writers. You should talk to publishers. You should talk to librarians and what makes them pick a book to put into their library. You should talk to cultural diversity teachers because you're trying to express that culture and try to teach people about culture. So figure out who's an expert in the field of your interests and go from there.
And a field means
Area of study.
I came up with something about that.
Did you?
Yes. What do you think a field means?
A few, 3 or so.
Oh, he heard few.
Oh, field.
A field. What is a field of study?
A field. So,
Yes. What does that mean?
I mean, putting that a different way is kind of hard. A career that a realm of a certain career.
Would you like to read this out loud for Alex to hear, please?
All right. Concepts such as success and leadership cannot achieve validity in their own right. You can never become absolutely successful. The best you can achieve is being successful within a specific field. You can never become an absolute leader. The best you can achieve is being a leader with a specific field. The main reason why many fail to become a successful leader is because they do not know what a field truly is. That is where Thumaslang is at its best. Field, that means context for nomenclature. The complexity of your nomenclature determines the level of your success in your leadership. For example, if you know only 2 chemical elements, your nomenclature in chemistry is too simple for you to become a leader in chemistry. Nick Anthony Quatch, 11 p.m., May 7th.
I came up with that only. Is that yesterday?
That's yesterday, yeah.
I came up with that only yesterday. And that was born out of a conversation that I had with Jason. So I would like to ask you two to spend a couple minutes, 5 minutes maximum, to discuss about the validity of that paragraph.
What's your first thoughts?
And so that you have it in writing, I'm going to give you the link. And instead of leader, you could put writer,
Mm-hmm.
and that would apply to him directly. Meaning that he will never be able to become a successful writer if he wants to become a successful writer without selecting a field. Am I making any sense?
Yeah.
You may want to pound that message into his mind.
What was that? I couldn't hear you.
He says I should beat you up mentally.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
So,
Would you like to start talking? Did you read the text?
I have it open. I heard it and I.
Very good.
Said,
Would you two discuss that, please?
if you're going to read it, can you read it to me?
but But you just read it to me.
I know.
But don't you know what it says?
But by you reading it to me, it impressions me one more time, and I'll be able to remember it better.
Concepts such as success and leadership cannot achieve validity in their own rights. You can never become absolutely successful. The best you can achieve is being successful within a specific field. You can never become an absolute leader. The best you can achieve is being a leader within a specific field. The main reason why many fail to become a successful leader is because they do not know what a field truly is. This is where Thumo slang is at its best. Field, that means context for nomenclature. The complexity of your nomenclature determines the level of success in your leadership. For example, if you know only 2 chemical elements, your nomenclature in chemistry is too simple for you to become a leader in chemistry. Nick Anthony Quants at 11 p.m. on May 7th, 2020.
Thank you.
Thank you. That allowed me to think, because I was reading to you, I wasn't thinking for myself. So actually that really allowed me to notice that I want to be a global organizer. That's a pretty vague and broad definition, but you reading that to me gave me time to process it instead of just letting you.
President.
Like a president? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Because I'm so hip to that idea. I would be a great president of like an elementary school. I don't know the nomenclature of a U.S. president or any other president, I guess. So I'm not ready for that level. But that's pretty cool. He's our president.
Okay, I mean, you can replace all of those with writer, that it makes it specific to me. You can replace them all with global leader as well.
So the part that sticks out to me is the definition of field. Field, that means context for nomenclature. What's a field that you're well versed in right now?
I mean, I was probably pretty well versed in chemistry 2 years ago when I took it.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that alkali metals are a thing that exists.
So why are you no longer an expert in that field?
The way a lot of classes are taught, you're expected to memorize things and then put them down on a paper, and then after that, on average, it's forgotten about 3 days later.
Does that mean, let me ask it, for what reason were you learning chemistry?
Because I attend public school.
Okay, that makes sense. You just needed to do the class.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if we gave power to students to pick what they wanted to do from the get-go? If all their time was poured into one field?
I think the Met does that, or something pretty close to
Met
that.
does do that. Yeah. Look at Elias. He gets all
the Met,
this...
we're speaking of the school, the Met, in Providence, Rhode Island, by the way.
And the Met has...
Not
what's the word? It's not liability. It's liberty. Elias has so much liberty to do what he wants that his senior thesis project is to create, as a musician, is to create an album. Like, that's super cool. I never had that when I attended Attleboro High, or even my colleges. I mean, there was still a very specific way to pass the class. And Elias said, what do you like? Show us. That's pretty beef. That's buff. That's huge.
Yes.
Can you come up with a question for me?
Question. If you were to find the context for your nomenclature, where would you start? I mean, no, sorry, that would be where you finding your field. If you were to find the field, the nomenclature of your desired field, where would you start?
back with my previous answer of global organizer, and then try to work my way down, and then
But that's the same thing as a leader. That doesn't narrow anything. That such declaration is the kind of mistakes that students from schools that gives you liberty uh, make you feel the way you felt in the last 9 years, that you can do everything, and so you try everything.
really, right?
In the 4 years you're in this high school that gave you the right to choose, so you choose and do everything, and so
I need to really pick a field. I need concepts such as success and leadership cannot achieve validity in their own rights. I can't just want to be a leader. I got to pick a field to be a leader in.
so what do you think of this knowledge in relation to the math school, Alex?
Math school?
Math?
Oh, Met school.
Yes. Is it metropolitan?
I think it has to be incorporated into a curriculum like that. I mean, you wouldn't want someone to say, be sure they want to go down a certain path, then change their mind halfway through their junior year.
How do we help somebody walk their path without confining them?
I mean, I think the leadership concept itself is, you have to let them build their own history. Or if you were to, or do it for them with their express permission. If they want you in their path to help with it, then it should be their own prerogative.
How do I figure out how do I understand what I appreciate the most? For example,
What made you ask that?
I appreciate saving Mother Earth. I appreciate teaching people culture. I appreciate showing what good manners are. I appreciate building somebody. Those are 4 different ideas. Sure, they relate a little bit, but how do I know which one I like the best? And they all feel good. They all feel as important in my head, but I don't know which one to go towards.
So that you would only go into one field?
Whoa. You just gave me a mental image of a Venn diagram.
Yeah, are you asking that so that, like, the one you like best is the field you would go into?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I mean, a Venn diagram would be, like, probably, that's what I was going to say, and I think that's the best way to put it. Is like find one field. I think global leader would actually be really good for that, where you could execute to an extent all 4 of those things.
This is my opinion. Given that you have 3 notions on 3 different fields that you may consider for your life, and given that you understand that you have to pick one in order to become big in that particular field, then I would say that the best of those 3 fields would be the one that offers peers in person right away. So it's more important for you to have peers to travel the same journey together in that particular field. Then for you to select the field that is where you have the maximum passion. For example, I may not have uh, a lot of passion for being a nurse. I don't like blood. But I bet you that if I had a couple of friends who are into nursing, I would enter that field rather than. So I would go after uh, uh, group activities rather than making my life choices based on personal passion because uh, peers and companions are how you can advance much faster in speed for your ideals in a particular field uh, rather than do what you personally like to do the most, even if nobody else around you are interested in it.
Okay, I hear you. And what makes sense out of that to me is peer recognition is success. So if I want to feel successful, get myself a couple people that travel in the same journey as me, and if we can bounce off each other with recognition, we'll get somewhere.
Did you hear what I said?
Yeah, I was listening.
What do you think of what I've just said?
I'm still processing it. I think I need to collect my thoughts a bit more before I can respond effectively.